Welcome to today's Young Thug coverage. We will start off with the last half hour from Friday, and then we will be caught up in what's going on here. Then we will be caught up in no time regarding today's, which started off with the judge giving a carte blanche to the prosecutor to, if a witness in the slightest contradicts himself or herself, they are allowed to play absolutely everything. And yeah. What can I say? Welcome to the show. Yeah, so let's get right into it. Dun, dun, dun. Hello, Gwendolyn. Hello, Siobhan. And hello, everybody over at the Twitters. Let's go.
Which board? That big thing you brought in here? And I can't see in that otherwise. I mean, the people, you're gonna draw an objection.
It's playing on all of them. And one of their members can come over and sit right here with me.
Sorry?
I said, one of their members can come over and sit right here with me. Stop stressing to say.
Well, we will be listening more to college dropout, became a cop because no particular reason, never answered a 911 call, got placed anywhere within the department, and then she became in the gang unit, and all of a sudden she got promoted, and now she's an expert in this trial. Oh, come on. What happened? Oh.
I don't see any problem with that ticker. That's fine. Yeah.
Sound going in and out.
What we bring in the jury?
And that issue, sir?
Right now we have a lay witness on the stand who was not present.
We have a who witness?
A lay witness, a fact witness, not testifying as an expert.
Okay, and?
I concede. There is case law that says that if a lay witness is familiar with an individual, and that person's identification on the video will assist the jurors in determining the identification of an individual, the lay witness may identify people from a video. So I'm not challenging that. But I am challenging the ability of a lay witness who was not present at the scene to narrate this video, because the video speaks for itself. The jurors are able to analyze the video and take from the video what they may, and they are in the exact same position as Detective Gaither, who was, like them, was not present at the scene. Now, Walter Murphy, I asked him about things, he was actually present. So it is outside the scope of lay testimony to narrate this video for the jury. Again, I don't have a problem with her identifying people, but then to go, and then this person did this, and this person did that, the jurors need to watch the video and take from it what they may.
Judge, I believe that Mr. Sharp forgets that he asked Walter Murphy about what was happening before that Nitro ever even showed up. This video is already in evidence. And for the record, I would like for the witness to speak about certain things that are displayed. Mr. Sharp specifically, and I thought it was kind of humorous, at one point asked, is this woman pumping gas? Walter Murphy wasn't on the scene. He hadn't even pulled up yet. And here he is asking Walter Murphy, did Tina Clark pump gas? So we do intend to play this video. They've already put in the footage themselves, but we're putting in the non-4 screen version. And I believe that this is a competent witness to talk about anything that she chooses.
Okay.
So she found it wrong and humorous that I did it, but she's just seeking to do this.
Let's keep it on, let's keep it focused on the, what you wish me to
Well,
rule
again,
upon.
it's-
So what is
it's
it?
improper.
So you brought up this issue, I'll rule on it accordingly, okay?
Okay.
Right now, if they're gonna, if it's in evidence and she has a basis to talk about, she can.
And she does. She interviewed both Walter Murphy and she interviewed D'Angelo White.
A lay witness
And
cannot testify to what's on a video unless their testimony aids
Right.
the jurors in some way in interpreting the video. Now, again, identifications, I don't have a
That's
problem
not
with.
true.
But beyond that, she's just narrating a video.
I
And
don't,
that's not the
do you,
role. of a-
unless you got some case law, I'm gonna overrule your objection, okay? All right, let's bring in our jurors, please. All right. Yeah, bring in our witness too.
Yeah, and the judge is back to his old self from last week's. Well, this was still Friday. Hi, excited utterance. Good to see you. Good to see you. That belt does not help Mr. Williams to keep his pants up, if it is a belt. Hey.
Thank you, Sergeant Ingram. Yes, ma'am.
Detective Baker, I'm going to approach you and show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit 100 Bravo Bravo. Your Honor, a copy of this was given to the defense yesterday and shown to them just a moment ago. Do you recognize State's Exhibit 100 Bravo Bravo?
I can't see it.
Yes,
excited utterance. Mr. Young Thug has gained some weight during his
Do you recognize
incarceration.
this surveillance footage?
I do.
How do you recognize it? If you could talk a little bit louder.
Surveillance footage from the shooting Dexter Montgomery at the sickle station.
And is this the same surveillance footage that you saw in the defendant's exhibit that had the 4 squares on it?
Yes, that's the actual videos.
Okay. Your Honor, the state tender State's Exhibit 100 Bravo Bravo as evidence.
Any objection? Hearing none, it will be admitted, maybe published as you see fit.
Thank you.
And now we're going to watch a video again.
Your Honor, I'm starting this video at timestamp 21:34:53.135.
Yep. Here we go again.
Detective Baker, would you please tell the jury what it is that we're looking at timestamp 21:34:53?
The gas pumps at the sickle station where the incident occurred.
And would you look behind you over your shoulder and take that pointer over your right shoulder? If you would stand up. With full permission, Your Honor, I would step down.
She may step down.
And would you point to the roadway just outside the parking lot of the gas station where these cars?
Here, and also
What road is that you're pointing to? Last one.
this one,
Yes,
this is Brownsville Road, something.
all right. And if I could get you to actually put your back against the wall. Yeah, as we're looking at this, I'm gonna ask you some questions if you will, along, okay? Don't be happy. All right, I'm gonna be playing around.
Skipping ahead.
911. For the record, would you please tell the jury what it is that you observed as it relates to Brownsville Road, a vehicle and a gas pump at this gas station?
As you guys can observe, 2 vehicles came off of Brownsville Road towards Jonesboro.
Point I'm going to object under, that's word is 602, as well as discussion in drawn, T-R-A-U-T, and 8, 11, 40,
I can hear you. You're not absolutely certain.
I'm sorry, 311 Georgia 378.
And you also 24. Can I respond?
No.
Yeah, and the judge said, I need case law. Okay, he started to find case law, and the judge didn't wait. He just called in the jury. DJ Naptown, thanks for watching this trial. Love your perspective. I will do my best. I will do my best to try to interpret what's going on here, and it is, well, you can't an F a cluster F.
Your Honor, the record is not reflective of what is being shown to the jury. You're not asking the witness to talk about things that are being said. You're asking the witness to take on the record as with her own eyes, as she can see. And we're not asking her to describe G1's.
She is describing.
I'm overruling objection, okay? Thank you, sir.
You may answer the question. Detective, please tell the jury what it is for the record that is occurring as it relates to the road you pointed out, the gas station parking lot, and the pumps in the gas station parking lot.
Yes, ma'am. So as you all can see, two vehicles traveling eastbound.
Yeah. Now, see, here's the thing. I've been watching a lot of trials the past year and a half. I mean, for years, U.S. trials. Solely having a witness there to narrate to the jury what they are actually looking at. I've never seen that before. Never. Never. Because they are supposed to evaluate the evidence independently. Now, they can have an expert witness if it's something that goes above the normal person's knowledge, but this is simply looking at a video. You don't need a narrator.
From Brownsville Road into the Citgo parking lot right here, the intersection. This is Jonesboro Road. This is Brownsville Road. See the two vehicles both pull into the parking lot.
And the witness is suddenly very knowledgeable about what's going on. Because, well, let's just say she haven't oozed of confidence regarding what was going on prior. So, and this is after a break, and it looks like, to me at least, that somebody have been bringing her up to speed, so to speak.
Here, and the other one will come here and eventually be going outside.
Now, as it relates to the first vehicle that you pointed out, at the timestamp 21:35, 46.743.
This has already been shown to the jury, by the way.
On the screen right now. For the record, would you describe the location of?
Sorry for stopping again. Excited utterance. Sometimes cops narrate body cam videos. Yeah, their own. This is a surveillance camera. Exactly, but they were there, and this witness wasn't there.
Each of those two vehicles you just mentioned.
So she is more or less telling the
Side by
jury
side with a
what
gas
they
pump.
should see.
In between them. This again is the parking lot of the Citgo gas station.
Are the doors to either vehicle open?
You can see the passenger side, front and rear doors of the silver Pontiac ajar.
And is that the first vehicle that drove into the park?
Yes.
Are the doors to the other vehicle open?
No.
I'm continuing to play. At 21:35:58, has the door to the second vehicle open at all?
No.
And what is going on with the doors?
You may, sir.
What is going on with the doors and occupants of the first vehicle that pulled in?
You see occupants of the first vehicle, the silver vehicle.
They already the jury already seen this. This is just reiteration of what they already seen, but now with the narrator. I can't for the life for me understand why it's even remotely necessary. And remember, this is the judge who wants them to stop wasting time. But that obviously only is about the defense. Hi, Dolly. Sally's here.
Here, the doors open. and the front seat passenger approaches the driver's side door of the second vehicle. The backseat passenger side, an occupant exits that, and also
I'm playing this in
behind the driver,
1.5.
passenger exits that well.
Imagine how slow it was Friday.
At 2136-00835, would you tell for the
Hi, Patty.
record what the occupant of the silver Pontiac is doing or has done in relation to the other vehicle that pulled in?
You can see,
Basis, lack of personal knowledge. I'm overly
Your
objection.
Honor, if I may supplement, also rule 701, get fuller state.
Mr. Sharp, Mr. Sharp,
Yes, sir.
that's improper. Please sit down. You can make an offer of proof at a later time, okay?
Yes, sir.
Would you please tell the jury for the record?
Remember, the judge asked him to look up citations, and instead of waiting for him to actually find it, he called in the jury. That means Mr. Short has more or less no choice but to bring it up, because you can, once they hear it, they can't unhear it.
What the occupant of the silver Pontiac is done in relation to the second car that pulled in?
the gentleman who exits the
It
silver
was
vehicle,
improper
front
because the
passenger
judge
seat is
said it
down,
was.
appears to be leaning over, talking to the driver or occupants of the second vehicle.
And has the occupant, has either door of the second vehicle opened? Yes.
No.
And has either occupant of the second vehicle exited the vehicle?
Hey, Dave, Becca.
Continue to play.
Hi, Becca.
At 2136-09.840, how many occupants have gotten out of the silver Pontiac that drove in first?
3.
Is there another occupant near the gas pumps? And if you can't tell, that's okay.
At this angle, I can't tell.
Has anyone gotten out of the blue vehicle that pulled up after the silver Pontiac?
No.
Do you recognize anyone that has just gotten out of that silver Pontiac that's walking forward in the video?
Here, yes.
Who?
Kelvin Treadwell, aka OG Bentley.
And what area are they walking towards, the occupants of the silver vehicle?
The entrance to the food mart portion of the Sitco.
Already been
At
testified to.
2136-17, has anybody gotten out of the blue vehicle?
No.
What about 2136-37? Anybody out of the blue vehicle yet?
No.
We have 20 minutes in 1.5 speed to go through.
At 2136-59, has anybody gotten out of the blue vehicle yet?
No.
At 2137-08, is there any movement from the blue vehicle?
Yes.
What does it do for the record?
It passes by the front side of the silver Pontiac and eventually end up over here at the opposite gas pump.
As I said on Friday when we watched this, that dark car has been following them. And now all of a sudden, without stepping out, driving in front and then parking slightly behind. In my opinion, that's a very aggressive move. Maybe some of the jurors felt that too. What the prosecution is now trying to do is to infuse or insert narrated thoughts into the jury. And it's improper, in my opinion, completely improper.
Yeah, continuing objection, Your Honor. As to what, sir? Personal knowledge. I'm over, no. And not this time, sir.
At 2137-14, what
And Judge, not now. Judge, the defense have one obligation towards their client. Well, of course, follow the law and follow rules of conduct. And sadly, this judge is the one who interprets the rules in the courtroom. But this judge keeps doing it, telling off the defense in front of the jury.
the record is the blue vehicle do?
It stopped in front of the silver Pontiac.
And what does it do initially before pulling up to the set of gas pumps?
Good morning, Monica.
It reversed a short distance and then pulled to the side of it near the, so the driver's side doors are next to each other.
At this point, have you seen anybody get out of the blue vehicle?
Not at this point.
At 21:38:02, what has the blue vehicle done since the last time that I asked you a question about it for the record?
Is now next to the adjacent gas pumps of the silver vehicle.
Is it directly situated next to, or is it behind and to the right of the Pontiac?
I stand objection.
Would you please, for the record, clarify exactly where the blue vehicle is in relation to the Pontiac at 21:38:02.705?
It's behind it and directly to the right of it.
Thank you. And are the brake lights on?
They are. Well, they were.
Yes, Becca, we can watch nothing happen twice as fast. And with narration, just in case the jury don't have the idea the prosecution want to
Do
insert.
you see anyone standing outside of the blue vehicle? Yes.
Doesn't appear, no.
I'm going to ask you in the audience here. If you have been followed by a car into a gas station, nobody gets out, see still, then drives up, stops in front of you, and then drives slightly behind you. Would you be on alert? I know I would. But the narration from the prosecution seems to be these guys were just out on a Sunday drive, nothing in particular, which I call bullshit on. Hey, Kerfuffle. Hey, good to see you from New Brunswick, Canada.
At 21:39:05 and 3:55, do you see anyone outside of the blue vehicle?
No.
Continue.
Oh, I hope to everything holy that once we get to today's trial, we get to cross-examination. Oh, I want to cross-examine this particular witness. The college dropout,
At 21:39:40,
no, barely hung on to a job as a cop,
if anything,
now turned gang
passengers in
expert.
the Silver Pontiac do. You see the movement, for the record, of passengers from the Silver Pontiac.
Yeah. Would you like me to say who that person is? Or?
Do you know?
Yes.
How do you know?
I later spoke with her.
Who is that person?
Ms. Tina Clark.
And what does Ms. Tina Clark do at 21:39 and 48?
She exits the driver's side door and goes around to the actual pumps, gas pumps on the opposite side of the vehicle.
Do you see anyone outside the blue vehicle at 21:39:48?
Hi, Kat.
No.
At 21:40:03, do you see anything as it relates to the blue vehicle?
Yes, you can see the brake lights come on.
Is anyone on the outside of the blue?
Not at this point.
Are the doors open or closed on the Silver Pontiac?
This time stamp, it appears just the driver's side door is open.
At 21:40 and 13, what happens as it relates to the blue vehicle and its occupants? Does anything happen for the record?
Yes, the brake lights come off and the driver of the blue vehicle exits.
Do you see or was there anything in his hands like a long gun?
No, it does not appear to be anything in his hands.
And are you able to tell the jury based on your personal knowledge who that person is that got out of the car?
That's Neil. His first name is Cornelius. I'm not certain his last name at this time.
And that's at 21:40, 15, and 870. At 21:40, 27, what do we see Neil do?
You can't see it from this angle, but there's vehicles parked here at the front entrance
Uh-huh.
of the store. Drop.
You have objection with basis?
it's not seen on video, then yes, I do.
What's the basis of your objection, sir?
Would be, technically, it's not there, to be honest, so, for this video.
Your Honor,
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, there are angles that have been.
Well,
that
then
have
ask
been
her,
shown.
I'll sustain the question, Mr. Form. Ask her another question.
As it relates to the front area of the store, what do you see Neil do as you were describing?
He just began to walk towards the front of the food mart.
Is he running?
No.
And as he walked towards the food mart, did you see evidence of anything in his hands?
No.
And now at 21, 40, and 43.308, would you tell the jury for the record what Neil was doing?
He appears to be walking back towards his blue vehicle.
Okay. And where is he at 21, 40, and 51?
The driver's side door. He enters the car.
Of the blue vehicle?
Of the blue vehicle, yes.
At 21, 41, 18.495, would you
10
describe
more
to the jury
minutes,
for the
folk,
record
of
what
this
anything happens as it relates to,
completely
Neil
riveting
Car,
testimony
and his pocket?
about. Look at
You see
this
Neil
video.
Exit the driver's side door again.
Tell us what
He's standing
you
near
think
the
is going
rear
on.
Passenger, rear driver's side door, and the young lady that was at the gas pumps approaches him.
Is that Ms. Tina Clark?
Yes.
All right. And are you able to tell where Neil's hands are as Ms. Clark approaches him?
Maybe in his pockets.
I'm continuing. At 21, 41, 24, where are Neil and Ms. Clark?
They're standing in between their two vehicles, and they shook hands.
21, 41, 45, where is everyone that is outside the car?
Ms. Clark, she's standing at the driver's side door, and Mr. Cornelius is near the backseat door, driver's side.
And has anyone else gotten out of the blue vehicle so far as you can tell?
No,
Is any door of the blue vehicle open?
just appears the driver's side, the front door.
Ms. Lowe,
Yes.
you have another 5 minutes for the end of the business day, okay?
Now let's lay out and not ask him.
My hope here is that the jury is looking at prosecutor and saying, do you think with
Where is
as
Neil? in relation
do you
to
really
items
think
that
we are
are
this
there?
stupid?
The same spot near the rear driver's side door.
At 21, 42, 49, where is Neil?
Appears to be the same spot.
Is he talking to the same young lady?
He is.
Are there other occupants of the silver Pontiac on the other side of the car?
Yes.
All right, now, what, if anything, happened on the other side of the gas tank where the silver Pontiac is situated just before 21, 43, 21?
This here, white Dodge Nitro, which we learned was a suspect vehicle, entered the parking lot and stopped at that side of the post.
Did it drive it slowly?
It didn't appear to be slow, no.
What does Neil do when that nitro comes up?
He immediately walked back to his vehicle and entered the driver's seat.
And what happens to the occupants of the Dodge Nitro?
All three exit the vehicle armed with firearms.
At 21, 43, 28, have you seen Neil with any type of object that even resembles a firearm?
You can't even see Neil at this point. He's inside the vehicle.
At 21, 43, 32, what has Neil done?
He's got into his blue vehicle and closed the door.
And what about the occupants of the Nitro? What is happening at 21, 43, 32, and 823?
They're walking into the parking lot armed with firearms.
At 21, 43, 37, where is Neil?
Inside the driver's side seat with the door closed.
Has anyone from the Nitro done anything in relation to Neil's car at this point?
You can see this guy here, later identified as Walter Murphy, walking up towards the rear of their vehicle. Yeah,
they're completely going away from, hey, testimony that this very car followed them around. They have a woman and her kids in the car. That the car made quite an aggressive move. Now they're trying to downplay it because apparently everybody in that blue car are as innocent, as pure, and as new fallen snow.
At 21:43:48, is there anything you can see in Walter Murphy's hands?
Yes, you can see a assault rifle.
And what have you just done? As it relates
There's no such thing as an assault rifle. They have actual name. But welcome to the court.
to the blue vehicle?
He approached the driver's side door, maybe less than 5 feet away. I don't know what the conversation was, but he raised the firearm and then began to back away from it.
Is his face covered, Mr. Murphy?
No,
All right. And what is he doing at 21:43:51?
he's attempting to conceal the rifle into his jacket
Okay. And where is he walking?
towards the front entrance of the food mart.
What is the blue vehicle doing?
Brake lights came on, so it appears that it's putting in gear to leave.
What's happening at 21:43:59 and 467?
Walter Murphy began to run towards the blue vehicle with the assault rifle drawn.
And what does the blue vehicle do?
Pulls away.
What does Walter Murphy do?
Standing in the parking lot having a conversation, short conversation with this gentleman who was an occupant of a silver vehicle.
And do you know who that gentleman is?
I do not.
At 21:44:06, has the blue vehicle completely exited the parking lot?
Yes, he went south on Jonesboro Road.
Did the blue vehicle creep off, or did it speed off, or did it do something in the middle?
It appeared to leave at high rate of speed.
Where is the silver Pontiac at this time? 21:44:12.
It's still parked at the gas pumps in his original place.
Did you see anyone other than Neil get out of the blue vehicle while it was in the parking lot?
No, ma'am.
And how many persons are on the outside of either the silver Pontiac or the white Nitro?
From this frame, I can see 3.
All right, so what about done here?
Yes, Your Honor. I stopped for the record at 21:44:19, 26:56.
Yes,
So
ma'am.
far, in my opinion, this supposed expert witness completely worthless testimony whatsoever. It's just bolstering of what other people already have testified to and what the jury can see for themselves in that very video.
All right, Detective Gator, can you come back and visit with us again on Monday? If you could be here for 8:30? Okay, all right, have a nice weekend. Don't discuss.
Yeah, again, infuriating. But now we are in today's. So I told you we will catch up in no time. No time. And swoop. All right. Let's sound on, that on, and we will catch up. And Jesus Christ, I hope. Yeah, I know. I watched a bit of what happened on today's trial.
Of that, what was happening back in 2015. Also, in this interview, this is when he said he was high. He said that he would do anything to get out of this interview, Your Honor. So not only are we impeaching by prior inconsistent statement, we're impeaching by contradiction, because what he said to this jury in this court is he would have said anything to get out of that room. He also said that he was high, and the jury can look. He does not appear to be high in this video.
Seriously? From over here, all the way from Sweden, I could tell that Mr. Murphy on that interview was high.
He's responding to what Detective Dennis said, which will be effect on the listener, which is when Detective Dennis says, that's why if it's trying to bust your head open, he doesn't say, I don't know what you're talking about. He says, yeah. And so it's for an effect on the listener. So that's the other portion that we would be asking to remain in. Also here in court, Your Honor, he said he was false flagging, and that's why he was scared to go to jail. So all of this would be impeachment by contradiction, not just prior inconsistent statement.
All right, Mr. Steele.
Murphy testified in front of the jury that there was a conflict between IF and YSL, and he got into a lot of fights. I don't think it's a prior and consistent statement. Why I flagged.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the prosecution wants to say, oh, inconsistent with prior statements. But we also know that the state didn't play the video and confronted him at the time of his testimony. And why do they do that? Because they want a half dozen irrelevant people talking about it and show same videos over and over again instead of actually impeaching him on the stand, which they could have. They chose not to, just to do a workaround what rules there are. And the judge, as he had a unicorn moment last week when he actually shouted at the prosecution, but he's back to his old self.
Not the false flag.
Understand, sir. Understand. All right. The court's in agreement of the state's rationale as to why it should be played. So I'm going to again deny that, Mr. Steele. I give you continuing objection. Okay.
Understood.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I believe Mr. Steele had filed 2 additional motions. One was regarding to the July 2015 interview that Ms. Love will handle. And then I believe later last night around 10, he filed another motion regarding Detective Gaither's continued testimony. And so those 2 would need to be addressed.
All right. What about the July 15 statement? Or what is still in contention as it pertains to the July 15 statement?
Your Honor, my understanding is that reading Mr. Steele's motion, his contention is that only specific portions that he has outlined and read for the court are permissible to be played for the jury. But in response to that, the state has a number of answers and objections. One, the entire statement is a contradiction to what he said on the stand. He did state, as Mr. Steele pointed out with Ms. Hilton, when she asked him, did you say, or were you afraid of getting smoked? At that point, he indicated on the stand, yeah, I was afraid that some bloods were going to get me because I was false flagging. And Ms. Hilton said, is that the only reason you were afraid of getting smoked? And he said, yeah, because I was false flagging. Ms. Hilton asked him, did you ever tell anybody within that interview that you were afraid of getting smoked for being false flagging? And he didn't indicate that he had. And she said, didn't you say you were afraid that Jeffrey Williams' father had seen you as the officer pulled up? Jeffrey Williams' father saw the officer pull up the mask. So these are the portions in Mr. Steele's recitation of the July interview that he wants or doesn't mind having in. Specifically, he has enumerated. Can you pull up the one he sent us? He has enumerated, I believe, 4 points. He has enumerated specific points that he feels are admissible. And essentially his argument is that the rest of the interview is inadmissible. So based on his Saturday at 5:12 email to the state and to the court, what he has said is the only thing out of the entire interview that is admissible is a portion at 23:35, where Mr. Murphy says he cannot remember what vehicle he was in. He states that he believes it was a black Pontiac Chrysler or other Chrysler 300. At 24:30, he says he was in Hot's car. He doesn't know Rodney Allison. At 25:40, he states that he was with Bentley, but Gaither says it's very good video and it shows he wasn't in the back with Bentley. Earlier on, Mr. Steele feels that the only portion that should come in is the part that says, I have worked with the police previously. That's how I know the officer with the mask on. And the portion where Mr. Murphy says, when we pulled up and he seen me, he instantly pulled his mask on. So that led Young Thug's daddy, who he spoke with on the phone, to be like, why he just pull his mask on? Oh shit, a police officer I worked with in the past, you know what I'm saying? Those along with, I believe, about 6 other places, he has enumerated in pages 1 through 9 of his motion. Essentially, his argument is that the other information does not come in because it was not an inconsistent statement made by Walter Murphy, and that as such, any statements made by other people should not come in because they as well are not inconsistent statements made by Walter Murphy. But our position there is that this July interview is a contradiction of what he said on the stand almost in its entirety. So the July statement is admissible under 24-6-621, 24-6-622, which states that any party can always prove a witness's feelings towards in relationship to the parties. It's relevant under 401 and 402. And it's also admissible under 613 because the interview that he gave to Detective Gaither in July is inconsistent with what he testified about on the stand. So specifically, he also said on the stand, as Ms. Hilton just pointed out, that he would have cut off his right arm, chopped off his arm to get back home. And when he sat down in the July interview, he was told, he asked the question, am I going home? And Gaither said, no, you're not going home right now. And he said, is there anything that I can do to go home? And she said, you can't help me. You know, you might want to help yourself, but right now you're not going home. I already know the truth. And the only thing you can do to help yourself is to be honest. So what he said during that interview also pertains to his fear, not just of retaliation from people who were YSL members who may have seen him interacting with the police. There's no.
Here's the thing, Miss Love. Not once did he say he was in fear of YSL. He might have mentioned Mr. Williams' father. And unless you're going to claim Mr. Williams' father is YSL, it's not relevant and it's not inconsistent. What shouldn't be?
Direct threat that there is intimated from anybody. So the prior case law that was cited by his counsel doesn't apply in this case. It's his overall feelings towards the party. And as to Mr. Murphy's assertion that he was false flagging, inside this interview, they talk about Mr. Murphy's relationship with a very high-ranking and well-established blood that Mr. Murphy would not have been false flagging around. He talks about his relationship with him and all of those things. So rather than only allow the state to play the red portions that Mr. Steele has pointed out, our position is that under United States versus King and several other cases that do talk about the reciprocal and integrated utterances that surround statements that a defendant makes or witness makes in an interview, that the interview should be played and that rather than
No, Papa Thug is not on
portions
time.
of it, so that the jury can have the entire context, that the court under 105 should instead give a limiting instruction, which I would propose to be that the jury should consider as evidence only those statements made that are a contradiction to or that are inconsistent with what the witness testified to on the stand. And the jury shall consider any statements made by others only for the purpose of the context that they give to the statements that are inconsistent or contradictory made by the witness during the interview. And this is the way that we would ask that the court deal with that particular statement made by Walter Murphy in July 2015, because the rules themselves are rules of inclusion, and 105 is meant to remedy those circumstances where there's not an agreement as to what part is admissible evidence and what part is not, rather than to redact the context around the statements that the witness made.
All right. Hold on 1 second, please. Chris.
This I want to hear.
Your Honor, I took a lot of time to go through what is inconsistent. That's what I sent to everybody this past.
Wow, Veronica, $50. Thank you. That is so sweet of you. That is so sweet of you. if I didn't have an early morning tomorrow, I would bring up the Wheel of Regrets. I will have the. It's a few days away. Friday, you just bought a spin on the Wheel of Regrets, but that is on Friday. Okay, thank you so much, Veronica. And thank you for saying I'm doing great commentary. I'm doing my best.
Saturday, I truly oppose it being played. Now I truly oppose it being played and then leave up to the jury to decide what is inconsistent. I will be moving for mistrial, which I presume will not be granted, but I'll protect the record. And I don't think that the court should be giving a limiting instruction to tell the jurors to decide what is or isn't inadmissible. But here's the entirety of this recording. I also particularly and strenuously, I'm not waiving anything else, but I strenuously object. We had a hearing before Your Honor report about witness intimidation. There is zero evidence that Mr. Murphy was intimidated, said he was intimidated by Mr. Jeffrey Williams. You granted that. I gave to the court and the parties cases that say, well, even
Ken's counseling couch says something good. Spin the wheel, but do only the hot sauces. Oh. Darn it. Hold on. Let's see here. Dun, dun, dun. Let me. Dun, dun, dun. Let's see here. Yeah. Bum, bum, ah! I left in the sour shot because those are only 30%. Let's spin the wheel of regrets. Oh, fuck. Of course. The hottest sauce I have. I regret it already. But it's a bit clogged. So I'm just going to try to shake it up, shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. I need something to poke with. Phrasing. Screwdriver. There. Put the lid on again. Shake it again. Teaspoon. I only get the thick parts. This is not okay. Hey, whew. Okay, that's hot. All right. Back to the trial.
If it's not a party, if it's that person's feeling, and that's why that person didn't cooperate or come forward or was not forthright, then that's also admissible, even though a threat does not come from the accused. But here, Mr. Murphy did cooperate fully. Within 30 days, it might be a little more. So from July 15, 2015, it's now August 18, 2015, so that's approximately 33 days. Mr. Murphy reaches out through his lawyer to the prosecution, meets with Detective Dennis and Detective Gaither for hours. And he informs them things about who was involved in YSL. He talks about several things, including April 12th, April 26th. April 12th is the Mr. Jackson, Your Honor, I apologize, using the date. April 26th is the tour bus shooting. He talks about the history of YSL as he knows it. He talks about what it's like in the jail. Several months later, maybe 6 months later, it's now February 11, 2016, the Honorable then former prosecutor, Chada Jimenez, is now on video audio with, again, the lawyer, Mr. Hudson, Mr. Murphy, Dennis, Detective Gaither. And there's a sheriff deputy, I don't know the name on the video, who I don't believe speaks at all. And again, he's cooperating. So to get in that he believed he'd be killed and threatened is just the state's way of trying to, and they've already gotten it out of witnesses, that they won't cooperate, that they feel threatened, that there's a stranglehold on them. You heard it last time that Detective Gaither testified over objection. You heard it with Detective Belknap. So I hope that the court would grant the motion, which I thought you granted, that these are targeted issues. This is not a free-for-all, play the recording and then somebody else will make a decision. The court makes a decision what can be impeached for prior inconsistent statement, and then please exclude, my request is again, which I believe you granted, exclude any mention that Mr. Murphy was in fear, because it goes to tremendous prejudice.
Well, I think that case law that you indicated, I agree with you about, but I think that the state's rationale is why these legal statements is different. But that reason, it's relevant for these determinations of what they want to consider.
Well, respectfully, and I mean, I hear respect all the time. I mean, respect, I'm not trying to bump up against the court's thoughts, but I just respectfully disagree. And I will maintain what I gave to you. And if you can mark it as a state, as a court exhibit, I went through, that was a lot of work, went through in the red, which I believe in good faith is the only inconsistencies. Now the state wants to play the entire tape. I never expected that to happen. I never thought you ruled that could happen.
No, I don't think the state wanted the entirety of the statement as well. But I believe that under U.S. versus King, that's what they're saying, or they're asking the court to play his statement for that purpose. So
Really, Judge, you
to
don't
that
think
extent,
so?
I'll
Let it
play
the
over
idea
your
that
objection. I'll give you continued
the
objection.
prosecution will walk all over you again.
Mr. Sharp?
Yes, sir. Yes, Your Honor. Three things. First of all, we still haven't gotten we're all referring to this U.S. v. King. We still haven't received a citation for it. So I don't know who's been able to review it, but we need a citation.
Yeah. I tried to find this U.S. v. King. Here's the thing. It's so new. It's only in on a very limited place. They will say so later, but I can't find it. I don't know what it contains. But if it contains what the prosecution claims, then it's a horrible decision from that court.
For that to even.
Ms. Hilton, you want to give us a citation again?
Yes.
It's only a Lexus site, is that right?
It's 93.
Correct.
F4th, 845.
93 F4th,
845.
845.
Yes.
All right, next.
Okay, second, Your Honor, I just keep going back. We're talking about exposing the jurors to a plethora of information that's not admissible under the rules of evidence, and then just suggesting.
What rules of evidence are you talking about? What are you saying is not admissible?
statements that are not inconsistent.
We've gone through that already. This is about the fourth time
Well,
from you, but,
But you're
and I understand
there's
that.
a mechanism.
You're not waiving anything, but
There is a mechanism where the state can easily just ask investigator Gaither.
they don't choose to do it that way, Mr. Sharp. We're going to just disagree on that.
Okay.
And so that's number 2. Okay.
Specifically also, and we have so many versions of this tape now. Excuse me.
Which tape are you talking about? The August?
Tape 2015.
Okay. All right.
We have so many versions, but I have in the complete version, 104.03 to 104.19, so I don't know what the time frame is on the redacted version. Mr. Murphy explains to Investigator Dennis how different members within the crew, I believe in context, he's talking about the YSL crew, have their own gang backgrounds, some being Bloods, some being Crips. Therefore, there is sometimes a bit of an in-house competition. Mr. Murphy says he believes Shannon is the most on the go because he believes Shannon wants to prove himself to Mr. Williams without letting other members, specifically Crip members, get all the credit within the crew. He explains this dynamic exists even though it is all within YSL. That is a lot of speculation. That is also bad character evidence. I don't know. Again, we've gone back and forth with suggestions. I don't know if that was previously flagged, but I have it as 104.03 to 104.19 on the original recording. I believe that would be completely inappropriate to play in front of the jury. It's not inconsistent with anything Mr. Murphy testified to, and it also runs afoul of other rules of evidence. And so, however the state is silencing or redacting when they're planning on playing this tape, I would ask that that specific passage be redacted as well.
Ms. Hilton and Ms. Love?
Yes, Your Honor. We asked specifically Mr. Murphy on the stand. I think I even asked him, what does on go mean? I believe I asked him, who is the most on go? And he said, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you mean. And so, Your Honor, that statement will be direct contradiction, impeaching him by a prior inconsistent statement. What he says is based on his observation, who is the most on go. So that's not speculation. That is, in this interview, his observation of who is the most on go out of the crew. And that is what he was asked and what he said based upon his relationship with the parties. This is something else we have to prove in the conspiracy. It's his party, it's his crew, and he made an observation based upon his relationship with individual members of his gang.
Your Honor, they cannot
And it shows the existence of the enterprise, Your Honor. And so that is something we have to prove. That's something I specifically asked him in court. He denied it. And therefore, the state believes we can play his statement that he gave to police when his gang members weren't in the room with him, when he was by himself with his police, with the officers and with his counsel.
Your Honor, they cannot just bootstrap wholly inadmissible, prejudicial, bad character evidence in just by asking about a statement previously, it being denied, and then saying, okay, now we get to play it. Like, if Mr. Murphy said, I believe Joe is a murderous maniac who killed 5 people in Iowa, that would be wholly inadmissible in this trial. But they can't just say, didn't you say Joe was oh no, I didn't say anything about Joe. Okay, now we just want to play it. It has to have a basis in admissibility. And they're just trying to say everything's a prior inconsistent statement. And if it's inconsistent to what he testified before, automatically it's in. That's not the way the law is.
No, it's impeachment. It's impeachment by contradiction.
But Your Honor, just because
as well.
something fits into one rule, if it's inadmissible under other rules,
That's why I rule on things.
Okay,
I mean,
well-
so yes, I understand that.
okay, well, how is this bad character evidence against Shannon Stillwell being entered into this case just because?
It's not, you may think of it as character, but it goes for another purpose, and that's to, but the state.
Here's a George. Just because inconsistent statements, yes, you can play unless it is also about bad character, then it's still inadmissible. If they want to impeach him on that particular issue, they have to find another way. But Prosecutor Glanville, I will stop calling him Judge Glanville. He is Prosecutor Glanville because he's not worthy of the title of judge. Yeah, exactly, Salvador. The prosecution is trying to open their own doors. You can't do that unless you have this judge. Then it's allowed, apparently.
He just told you.
And Your Honor, when I'm looking back at the transcript, and I believe this is the transcript I sent over to to everyone. Matter of fact, the state actually redacted that portion. It stops at who's the most on go with the crew, and Walter Murphy says Shannon, and then we stopped it there, Your Honor.
All right, so,
Well, I still think that's inappropriate, but,
okay. Similar to Mr. Steele, I'll note your objection, okay?
okay,
All
thank you.
right, thank you, sir. All right, and then the last thing the court has to go through is, and I will, Mr. Steele, to your August 18th redactions and the email that accompanied those, as well as the July 15th statements that you included in the email you sent on 4/2024 at 5:18 p.m. I'll include that email and attachments as a next court's exhibit in order as requested. And I'm also in possession of Mr. Williams' motion to strike reported expert Gaither's testimony and to prevent any additional expert testimony from supposed gang experts from the city of Atlanta Police Department. That was sent via email.
Patty B, can you explain what they are arguing, please? At the moment, they are arguing certain statements coming in just because the prosecution claims they are inconsistent statements. And the judge chooses to just go by impeachment status and ignores completely prejudicial versus probative. And now Mr. Steele will be arguing motion to strike this particular witness in its entirety.
Will also include at yesterday evening at 10:17 p.m. It also references in the motion, and I'm going to quote Mr. Williams, a portion of Mr. Williams, paragraph number 5, basically the lack of a pretrial Daubert hearing. No report, an expert report, no CV, the CV being provided.
Yes, Gwendolyn, they are impeaching their own witness because they can. And they are using their own witness to impeach. They are impeaching their own witness so they can get prejudicial evidence in that are prior rulings on that should be inadmissible. So they are opening their own doors. They are trying to open more doors they are moving the goalposts, and the judge is helping them. What can I say?
And a pertinent part, I'll quote, Mr. Williams chose not to question her because it was already a fait accompli that this honorable court found Detective Gaither qualified to somehow testify as an expert to unknown fields. I will.
Yeah, Judge, what did you say?
Acknowledge that even though I did study French and fait accompli isn't used very much, it is something that has already happened or been done that you cannot change. So I'm going to also cite Mr. Steele. I mean, I know that you're not saying that I said that, or I basically that my conduct inferred that, because I would remind everybody about Rule 3.3 of our Georgia Bar Rules, which is duty toward the candor toward the tribunal. Lawyers shall not knowingly make a false statement of material fact of law to a tribunal. I'm also going to include a portion of the transcript, which I was able to get from Ms. Weaver, which I'll include as the next court's exhibit in order. I'm deeply disturbed that you're taking what the court did out of context. I understand that you all are attorneys, but I want to just remind you about just
out of context. How can it be taken out of context that you more or less tell the jury before the, in my opinion, improper Daubert hearing in front of the jury that she's already an expert? That
You all's candor to the tribunal is first and foremost. Mr. Wein, I'm going to quote from Mr. Weinstein, who before Detective Dennis testified, I understand that investigator Gaither is going to be used as an expert witness. It's also my understanding that yesterday the court found here to be an expert witness already, her to be an expert witness already. The court, no, I have not. Mr. Weinstein, did you not say that yesterday? The court, no. She's going to be qualified as an expert. Mr. Weinstein, you didn't find her qualified yesterday? The court, no. She'll go through the same establishment of the issue. Were you here yesterday? No, you were not. You weren't. Okay, so here's the way it goes. The state is going to qualify her. There's no requirement for there to be a pre-admit hearing for that. Your colleagues attempted to ask me to do that yesterday. I was not of the opinion to do that. Mr. Weinstein, would the court be willing to qualify this expert prior to the jury coming into the courtroom? The court, no. Mr. Weinstein, that's the way, in my experience, it is. The court, no. Mr. Weinstein, always been done in federal court. The court, it can be done. There are some 11th Circuit cases I was shown yesterday that authorized for that. So, Mr. Weinstein.
I checked those 11th Circuit cases. I don't think this judge has a good footing, a good basis for his call to have a Daubert hearing in front of the jury. And remember, she's not proffered yet as an expert. They went from Daubert hearing to testimony. Completely improper.
I understand that you may be authorized to do that. I was suggesting that the better practice may be to do that before the jury is present. The court, Mr. Steele asked me that yesterday. Mr. Weinstein, thank you, Your Honor. The court, I am going to see if they qualify the witness using the Daubert standards and 702, and we'll let you all voir dire the witness accordingly. And then I will make a decision as to whether or not a particular individual is able to testify in that manner. Mr. Steele, Your Honor, can I just get a continuing objection? The court, yes. Mr. Steele, I believe the case, the 11th Circuit case is where. The court, you're right, it is where. Thank you. Where I don't believe it says that in front of a jury. And if it wasn't done at all, you have discretion to find someone. No, it wasn't, but there was no pre-admission. It was done in front of the jury because of the type of case it was. I think it was a firearms or ballistic or whatever else. And Mr. Steele, I think the court just made that finding anyway. I'm objecting to it in front of the jury. I'm objecting not to having a Daubert hearing outside the presence of the jury. So, state laid the foundation for Detective Dennis to testify as an expert. The court also read the admonition as to an expert and fact witness before this witness testified.
Yeah, and that's the problem, Your Honor. You gave Mr. Dennis had a Daubert hearing in, I want to say, March of last year, well before the trial started. Already had a Daubert hearing. Then it was okay to do that admonition. This person is being used both as an expert witness and as a fact witness. With Miss Gautier, whatever her name is, she's not through Daubert yet. And still you gave, before she took the stand, you gave the jury that same instruction. That is an unforced error and should call for an immediate mistrial, in my opinion.
Give all of you the opportunity to voir dire the witness before the court made a determination of whether or not she would be tendered and qualified as an expert. None of you took the court up on that because up to that point in time, I had not ruled that she could be qualified as an expert. So, Mr. Steele, I'm in possession of your motion. I don't believe it's timely. I believe it's waiver. I believe you still have the opportunity to cross-examine Detective Gaither about anything that she may have in terms of her investigation of this case. So for that reason, I'm going to deny the motion at this point in time.
May I have a moment?
You may have two.
Your Honor, I believe that the court is misunderstanding the sequence in paragraph 5 of my motion to strike Detective Gaither's testimony. The sequence is as follows. Court, outside the presence of the jury, I believe the night before, maybe earlier that day, I don't remember, did exactly what you just read, and denied a outside the presence of the jury Daubert hearing.
I did.
Then what happened is,
And that was because we're allowed, or in the court's estimation, even though we may disagree, I believe that gang expert testimony and this particular witness's background would lead her to be qualified. But the state still had to do that in front of the jury for me to make an expert determination.
so my saying where I understood it is different. The court made that determination without the hearing, and then
Which I didn't need to do, and you all disagreed. I get it.
So anyway, the way then sequentially, this honorable court, as Detective Gaither was about to testify, gave that instruction, which you gave 2 times previously, about Detective Belknap, saying that this is a dual witness. I don't have to repeat it. I presume you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, sir.
Expert witness. When you did that, and then the state is qualifying Detective Gaither, I, Brian Steele, stand by. I'm not accusing this court, and I'm certainly candid, always got willing with the court. But I took that as
No, but that wasn't. You had the right to voir dire the witness before the state proffered her or accepted. The court said she was an expert. You had the opportunity to fully examine her, because you know what would have happened if they would not have.
Your Honor, you already told the jury she's a dual witness, both expert and fact witness. That is a ruling in itself. That is an unforced error. You should recognize that it was an unforced error, but we know you won't, because you're a part of the prosecution.
Qualify this witness pursuant to Daubert and 702, I would have excluded her. You would probably move to have her excluded as a witness, an expert witness, which I would have granted.
Bullshit.
But that didn't happen.
Complete bullshit. You lying sack of shit. You liar. Prosecutor Glanville. Now you're lying on the stand in front of the prosecution, the defense. Now he claims now he claims that had he just done it, he would have excluded her. Liar.
I asked all of you whether or not you wanted to take advantage of that. So
what I'm trying to say.
you waived that issue at that point.
No,
What I'm trying to say is
it's an unforced error. You don't have to object.
to ask the questions in front of the jury, the probing questions that this honorable court has allowed every other Daubert witness.
Yeah. Here's the thing about a Daubert hearing, or whatever. You sometimes have to ask that wannabe expert some really damning questions, hypotheticals that might look extremely prejudicial to your client. That is why you always do it not in front of the jury. You denied that chance. And I said this on Friday stream. I already said this once, and I will repeat it. You denied the defense the chance of a proper Daubert hearing because you chose to have it in front of the jury. This is.
But why didn't you do it? I mean, because you could have done that, and that was the danger for the state asking me to do that at that point. Because had they not gone ahead and qualified that witness, they would have fallen flat in front of this jury, not having a witness that was qualified.
Well, I would have fallen flat in front of the jury because I would have.
But you had that right, sir.
I'm just trying to get out my statements. The questions I would have asked are occurring in front of a jury. They would have asked her a basis of knowledge. Where is the gang book that we don't have? That she's relied upon, that Detective Belknap relied upon, that we can't, for whatever reason, I don't know.
I think nobody's actually brought a gang book as of yet.
But you told me, I asked for it, you told me
If they have it, they need to tender it, yes.
I have nothing. I would have asked the questions specifically about Mr. Williams and how you separate, just like I did with Detective Belknap. How do you separate a law?
Aren't you going to cross her on as to that?
No, I'm not going to cross her. I already did it with Detective Belknap. I don't have to repeat. So my point is, there was absolute candor always with the court. I did take it to faith complete. I don't know why.
No, but that's not true, sir. And that's a misstatement and a mischaracterization. You're telling me that I've already made up my mind at that point in time.
Judge, it doesn't matter what you believe. It is what you tell the jury, and you told the jury this witness is a dual witness, both an expert and a fact witness. You already told them that.
All but a certain conclusion. It was not, sir. That's not the way that this court looks at its role as the gatekeeper and its role as a referee.
You're not
I
here.
understand you're offended.
I am offended because it's not true in terms of what you were given.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm offended because no other time in this trial have you given a instruction to the jury before you found somebody expert to say this person's going to give expert and lay testimony. So as a listener, it was already a fait accompli because you already instructed the jury that that witness was going to provide expert and lay testimony.
Did you object at that point in time?
Your Honor, I believe.
Did you object at that point in time?
I believe you already.
Did you object at that point in time, sir? I'm asking you a question. Did you object to at that point in time saying, Judge, she hasn't been qualified as an expert as of yet? I don't think you should read that instruction as of yet.
It would have been frivolous to say.
But you didn't object though, did you?
Listen, I'm not.
And that's because they don't have to, because it's an unforced error on the judge.
I know I'm not. I'm asking you. Look,
I'm just saying, to me, there's nothing but candor in my motion always with the court. I love this court. I'm not attacking you. I'm telling you how it appeared to a reasonable person. Then,
sir, but that's not true. That was not true in terms of the way and the what you have been given this case. The court made a ruling. Like I said, I rule the way I see it. I mean, I have no interest in this case. In fact, I tell the jury that when I charge them, I don't.
Your Honor, I cannot find another case that Daubert hearing was held in front of the jury. I cannot find it. So anyway, my motion.
Okay. All right, sir.
My motion goes much deeper. You just took one paragraph, which I stand by fully. But
And then,
there's nothing here. I'm sorry.
go ahead. I'm sorry. I apologize. Go ahead.
Nothing here. I listened to the testimony of Detective Belknap. I looked at my notes. I had other people do the same. Look at their notes. I then checked it online because I know it's not official, but there's a video of this trial.
Yeah, it's daily.
I then looked at Detective Gaither's statements and testimonies in my notes. I asked others, and I watched that online. Your Honor, there's no need for this witness to be an expert. All she's doing is corroborating and supporting her coworker. This is like a vouching improperly. This is like another summation, and it's coming from one of the case agents or lead detectives who is saying the exact same things. You've heard nothing. I challenge it. I put it in paragraph. I put in two different paragraphs. I put in paragraph 6. Put in paragraph 6 and 7.
Yes, sir. I see that.
Gaither is giving the same identical testimony as when you qualified Detective Belknap. So I moved to strike the testimony because it is repetitive, cumulative, and prejudicial because these people, these detectives being couched in expert and lay testimony, there is a real significant danger that the case law tells us about, that they will have an heir to them to give basically multiple summations or closing arguments for the state. It's called an AURA, A-U-R-A, special reliability and trustworthiness. Now they say they want to do it 3 more times with Detective Underwood, or Investigator Viverito, and Detective Dennis. Because I have no report on any of them why they should be different, and the honorable court did order their gag experts.
I did, but remember, we've gone down this road several times already. If they prepare a report, you'll get it.
You wrote in your order, November 17th, please check it, because if I'm wrong, I'm not trying to be wrong.
No.
I'm going by my memory. It's November 17th, 2023. I see it in my mind's eye. I have this great memory. It's in the very bottom last paragraph. And you wrote that all reports, including gag experts, they must be written. So this way we understand what is the difference between 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And instead, what I'm getting, Your Honor, as a viewer and as an advocate in the case, is I'm getting an unfair trial because it's repetitive, vouching, bolstering. I don't know, but it's the state's theory of the case. When a person became a fact witness and an expert witness, and then you allowed over objection the state to say how they did their investigation. And when I retired, it was still ongoing. And we noticed that people wouldn't speak with us. This is everything you hear when a prosecutor gives her summation or closing argument.
But that's part of the investigation. I mean, that was part, and the jury's free to believe or don't believe this. I mean, in terms of the backstory of this particular case or how it developed, which the state has to prove.
The investigation in every case is irrelevant. It's the conclusions, the results. But how they go about it, today we watched this home and we saw Jeffrey Williams come out of the home. That's irrelevant. We saw Jeffrey Williams come out of the home along with co-conspirator, they were carrying choppers. That may be relevant. But that's not what's going on here. We saw this uptick in crime, there's a war going on. And I'm objecting to these things, but the jury hears them. That's my position.
Okay.
And you know, paragraph number 5, the way it came out, the sequencing of it, that person's already qualified. The sequencing, because otherwise, why give that instruction? You're about to hear from this expert and lay witness, and you have to.
Well, that would have been a challenge for me at that point in time, but you didn't object to it. But yes, you're absolutely right. It probably would have been something that I would have probably had to think about. So yes, but I still gave you the opportunity to.
The judge know he fucked up. He knows. But he's a prosecutor. He's too invested in the prosecution. So he's doubling down.
What are the witness and make that particular record prior to my ruling.
And I've waived that opportunity intelligently, knowingly, because the jury was here. But I did ask you if I can have a out of the presence of the jury hearing to determine expertise, and you said no. And it's all on the record.
I know that, and I made that decision. I did.
And then
I did.
Corresponding decision.
So not only did Mr. Steele waive, he also told the judge why he waived it, because he wanted an out of jury hearing about it, and the judge denied it. So first unforced error, and then denying the right to correct it.
And Your Honor, with that being said, I would like you to strike the former detective Gaither's expert testimony. It is nothing but cumulative. And I would ask you to please put on your docket time that we can understand why are we going to have potentially 3 more similar experts.
If you then file a motion on that and look when.
This motion to strike. In the motion that you're referring to right now, it's a motion to strike purported expert Gaither's testimony and to prevent any additional expert quote unquote testimony from supposed gang experts from the City of Atlanta Police Department. The reason is we're not having like an expert from Canada, and then an expert from California, and then an expert from City of Atlanta Police Department. These they should all be the same. They work together. It's like saying Keith Adams and Brian Steele. You put us up, we're gonna have the same ideas on this case. You know, we work together. So it's that was my.
All right, sir. Okay.
I want to thank you, and I hope you now understand.
I understand, sir. I do.
That I was not.
I do. I understand. I understand the other basis for your motion. State.
Thank you, Judge. With respect to Mr. Steele's argument regarding the timing of the court's instruction to the jury as to the dual basis for the witness, Your Honor, we did not ask for it to be done at any particular time. We actually, at one point, I think, asked that it be done at the transition mark. I believe that Mr. Steele, as the court has properly alluded, waived his opportunity to have that particular instruction given after the court had qualified for his expert. I believe that out of an abundance of caution, the court was letting the jury know that this witness may be giving expert testimony as well as fact testimony. I do not believe that the court said anything that definitively made a statement regarding the expertise of the person. The court had not yet qualified. The court is correct. There's not even a need to hold a Daubert hearing at all. Certainly not. It is not necessary to do pre-trial, but here we do want to make sure that these matters are attended to so that there is no issue further down the line. And I believe the court properly handling and qualifying this particular witness as an expert. Secondly, as to the motion to strike the testimony because it is cumulative, I see no legal basis within the motion that Mr. Steele filed for any such draconian act on the part of the court. I will say, however, that of the 2 experts that we have already qualified, because notwithstanding his assertion that we've done 5, we've only qualified 2, and we've only presented the testimony of 2. Those 2 experts have 2 very different backgrounds. They are testifying about 2 very specific.
Those 2 work in the same department.
Facts that are different. For instance, Detective Belknap interacted with Trontavious Stevens quite a bit. He saw and spoke with Trontavious Stevens about what was on his arm, what was on his hand.
That's the difference between expert witness and fact witness, Ms. Love. They can come in as detectives talking about that specific case. They can't, but as gang experts, they should have since they work in the same department, they should have roughly the same conclusions, and that is what makes it cumulative.
Detective Belknap's investigations were different than Detective Gager's investigations.
But this is
And
about
so
their
not only
expert
have
testimony, not their as fact
background
witness.
of the experts, a different set of experiences that led to the expertise. They also have a different set of interactions to which they are able to tell the jury, about which they're able to tell the jury, and about which they can form their opinion, and then inform the jury as to their opinion. Your Honor, the notion that the fact that we have more than one expert in a particular area, because this particular indictment spans a long length of time and a large number of acts, in no way makes either of the experts that we are tendering irrelevant or cumulative or inadmissible. So we would ask that the court find that the court has ruled on many of the matters that Mr. Steele has in his motion, and that this motion is really a motion to revisit the court's prior ruling. So we ask that the court dismiss that motion on that basis.
What about the report? What about Mr. Steele's assertion that there's no report, it's repetitive, it's cumulative, and it's vouching? Because some of the stuff does have overlap.
Two things. I'll start from the bottom and work up. Repetitive, cumulative, and vouching. None of what this detective says comments on the veracity, the expertise, anything that Detective Belknap said. We won't be overlapping when they are working at the same law enforcement agency. Some of the training that they've experienced, some of the people that they encounter will overlap, but their experiences are unique to each expert themselves. And if it were the case that we had two experts talking about the
So it is subjective then they are not experts.
same exact set of facts, giving an opinion about the same set of facts, and they had the same training, experience, and background, perhaps we'd be in a different circumstance, but we don't have that at all. As you can see, Detective Belknap's training was very much classroom oriented. He had training in the field, but his training was heavily weighted and slated towards the hours that he has received of specific gang training via GGIA and other sources, whereas Detective Gager received 40 hours, and then she has been clear throughout. The majority of her training has been her interactions with the people in the community, her interviews with, contact with actual gang members who were freer to talk to her because of her proactive policing style that she has employed since she began with the Atlanta Police Department at the Zone 4 Evening Watch Patrolling Unit. So where a jury has to make determinations about critical elements of each charge and alleged crime in this indictment, Your Honor, the state does not, we cannot shun our duty to make sure that we give them enough to be comfortable with making the decision, especially when we don't have people testifying about the same set of facts. The fact that these investigators came from the Atlanta Police Department, but they are not the same people without the same experiences, in no way should disqualify them as experts in allowing the jury to hear them. We heard how Detective Belknap was
Hi, Snivels. The circus is on.
Country music stars, did you ever check out pop music stars, things like that? With Detective Gager, they may have a different set of questions for her, primarily because her whole experience is entirely different. So for that reason, Your Honor, we would ask the court to deny the motion to strike.
What about the no report?
The no report.
So I did ask that, you all tender a report to your experts, to include the gang experts, so.
Your Honor, throughout the discovery process, we have turned over to counsels for the defense various reports, and most notably throughout the Operation Planners investigation that Detective Gager spoke about.
Yeah, but those are his investigative reports, not the reports about their expert testimony.
There was, and it was given to the defense, and there was a summary of the events that were chronicled and counted as gang activity. I'll pass this up to the court and call it State's Exhibit. State's Exhibit EX,
No.
just for an example.
That's
and
not
I'll
a report.
give counsel for the defense a copy as well, whomever wishes to see it. I'll place it up here. Would anyone like to open?
Yeah, I believe that was already discussed. I think I may have made it a court exhibit earlier in regards to what Because there was an objection as to it, and I don't believe you said you all were going to tender it. You were going to, talk about the information. So, and I'd rule upon it accordingly.
Your Honor, I believe you asked,
Say again?
I believe you asked about reports given to the defense authored by Investigator Gaither.
No, I just said reports.
Okay, well, this report that's being handed up to you is not authored by Investigator Gaither.
Okay, all right.
I want to make that clear.
So, all right. Okay, but back to my original question about reports. Is there any reason why Detective Gaither did not author a report?
So, Your Honor, the summaries of the.
Summary is not a report.
That are included within the discovery that we have given to the defense. It includes her conclusions, her thoughts, her opinions, her observations on the members of YSL that she had an opportunity to impact.
That's her as a fact witness, not as a expert witness.
Contained many of her summaries and writings and the like.
Then that was turned over in discovery already, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
They have from Detective Gaither, they're reading.
Those are not
They
reports.
know what she'll talk about.
This is so stupid.
Throughout that investigation, and those reports, essentially are bite-sized, areas and summaries of what she's giving testimony on right now as it pertains to what she was able to observe in the field. So they cannot argue that there's any surprise by anything she said. They're aware of everything she said. And we've given to
It has
them.
nothing to do with surprise
I'm gonna
or
ask-
anything. She has no report. And summary is not a report if it's a summary of all the experts. They need to submit their individual report.
Good question. That maybe, I mean, I've been a jurist a while, but I don't believe when we hear from gang experts, they usually have a report.
They have not had.
I haven't had one in my almost 20 years as a Superior Court judge.
And I would also say, Your Honor, that.
Why not?
typically Reports are generally from people who don't have that firsthand knowledge and who were not any
All right.
fact witnesses. This is a situation where the expert is also a fact witness.
Yeah. Isn't that convenient that you call them as both fact witness and expert witness, and all of a sudden they don't have to submit the report? Cheating.
To the events that she is giving an opinion about and testifying about and has written reports about throughout her investigation.
Okay, I have one more question. How many more experts do you plan on calling?
I believe that we have three.
Which are?
That would be retired Detective Tyrone Dennis, retired Detective Underwood, and Investigator Burrito.
Burrito.
Yeah, no, Kurosan. The judge is saying it's not normal. At least he hasn't received during his career as a judge gang expert reports. Yeah, no, just no. That means that you have been doing absolutely fuck twat all for 20 years regarding gang experts. Jesus Christ. By the way, there's over 100 of you here, and only half of you have pushed that like button. Hit the thumbs up, folks. And if you haven't yet, subscribe. Make my channel grow.
We've already had, I believe that we've had Daubert hearings on all of them. Two of them. Who will we not have Daubert?
Actually, three, I'm sorry, we've had hearings on all three of them. Ms. Hilton reminded me, we did have we had all three of them.
Okay. All right. Okay. Mr. Steele, I'll invite you to expand your assertions in terms of the other three witness experts that purportedly are going to testify, Detective Dennis, Underwood, and Vivarito. I'm going to need to see more in order for me to rule on whether or not they are in fact cumulative or repetitive. But I am going to tell you all as a state that some of this stuff is repetitive, and and the court's not going to let you just go through it in whole cloth over again. So you need to be since a foundation's kind of been laid already as to some of this. It needs to be more focused. The next three folks, but Mr. Steele, I'll authorize or allow you to, if you choose to do so, to go ahead and by motion present to the court what you believe that the state is already or the issues with these particular three witnesses. Okay,
Thank you.
Mr. Steele, did you? All right.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. As for the motion at this point in time, in terms of to strike the testimony of Detective Dennis, I'm sorry, Detective Gaither at this point, I'm gonna deny at this point in time. I'm not saying that I won't, of course, reconsider it, but I need to hear the rest of the examination as well as any cross on this. So, okay. All right.
And we won't be entering, we won't be having multiple people talk about same-sex acts, just so.
Well, it's getting to be that point. At this point, from the court's perspective, I've heard multiple people say ostensibly the same stuff over again. So it needs to be, I mean, it's not that you can't present it, but it does come to a point where it will.
Your Honor, if you haven't noticed, the reason the prosecution's case has taken 4.5 months, almost 5 months, is because it's repetitive. It always has been. They call in 5 witnesses to say the same thing, and then some unnecessary witness who doesn't want to be there. That's their entire case. If you start sustaining objections on repetitive, cumulative, prejudicial, the state has no case.
Draw a cumulative or repetitive objection that could be sustained by the court. Okay, I'm just kind of giving you the heads up on that. Okay. All right. Okay, folks. Unless there's anything else, you all need to take a comfort break before we call our jury. I'll give you 5 minutes. Okay, or 10 minutes. Let's plan on being back at 12. I mean, I should.
Yeah, and they took a comfort break. Let's see, 10 minutes. That's 10. That's 15. Yeah, almost 20 minutes. Yeah, Heather Mosher. And he yells at the defense in front of the jury. And he has done so several times. But when he yells or corrects the state, never in front of the jury.
All right, thank you, Sergeant Ingram. Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, good morning.
Good morning.
All right,
Hey,
we're going to continue with a presentation.
hey, legal vices. I got raided. I'm going to send Jeff an invite. You all need to be careful with Jeff because he caught fire yesterday. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you so much for getting everybody over here for this. What you are about to see is, well, they don't show her. She is a gang expert. This particular gang expert, she is a college dropout, worked different jobs, became a cop. Then first 2 or 3 years, she refused to take on 911 calls. So the department shuffled her around to different departments where she did the least amount of damage. And then she came into the gang unit. And all of a sudden, within a few years, she got promoted. And then she retired 4 years ago. But she's gang expert. It's a cluster F. It is a complete cluster F. And she is now going to narrate a video the jury have already seen. Vice's raid! Yay! I sent the link to Jeff. If we...
the state's case and Detective Gaither. Madam, you're still on the road, okay?
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, madam.
Thank you, Your Honor. Detective Gaither, when we last left on Friday, we were going over the surveillance footage from the Citgo gas station,
Thank you, Jeff.
located at 1885 Jonesboro Road Southeast. All that.
Is the address a Browns Mill address, I believe?
Brownsville.
I'm sorry, is the address a Browns Mill address?
The Citgo location at Browns Mill and Jonesboro Road.
Yes,
Is
ma'am.
that fair? Okay. As we were looking at that surveillance footage, we were looking at the parking lot area, correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, did the footage that you had within your file contain the angle of only that one camera, or were there other camera angles? That
A
were contained
reminder,
within
the
that
jury
footage
has
as well?
already seen these
There are
videos,
multiple angles.
All right.
but
And
somehow
as
the
those angles
prosecution
played, did they play in sync?
somehow the prosecution wanted this particular witness to narrate, to tell the jury what they are supposed to see, and the judge allows it.
Or in unison with one another? In other words, if I'm watching timestamp 1 through 2 on camera 1 and I flip over to camera 2, does it continue on 2 through 3 like that?
Yes.
And I believe that the timestamp that we left off on was 21:44:19.650. And Mr. Kearns, would you please allow me into your Zoom room?
We
As we
are
look back up on the screen,
about an hour behind. I'm playing in
To Stacy
1.25,
Bennett.
so we will catch up eventually.
100, bravo, bravo. I'm
Playing
going
in
to
1.5
go to
speed
a little bit before
because
where we
they are so
started,
slow.
or left off rather, on Friday, and we will start at 21:42 and 55.
Hello, Eagles. Thank you. Oh,
Over to the right under video events.
before I forget it, have you all thumbs up if you've been here for more than 3 minutes and you like what you see, or you may not like what you see. I don't care. I'm so no, just kidding. But hit the thumbs up, and while you're at it, subscribe. Mr. Jingles tells you to subscribe, so you should subscribe.
Are these the various camera angles that one can see in this player as that white nitro is zooming up?
Yes.
So as we see people progress from the car towards the front of the store, and we click onto the second camera angle, which starts at 21:24:32, would you describe for the jury what portion of the store or of the parking lot this area is capturing?
This is the front entrance to the food mart portion of the gas station.
And at 21:43:47, are you able to tell who, if anyone, has walked into the frame and into the store with the door open right now?
Yes, this gentleman with the cap on, all black, was later identified as Demise McMillan.
Is that the person called Nard as well?
Hey,
Yes,
Tammy.
ma'am.
No, I have not eaten any reindeer
And
today.
as we transition, did you see what Nard had in his hand at 21:43:57 as he walked away from the door of the food mart?
Yes.
And for you who are completely new, none of the people you see in this video, none of them are the defendants. None of them. The defense has pointed it out a few times throughout the trial that everything has the defendants, the 6 defendants that are left. They are not in here at all. They had nothing to do with the crime that happened here. Nothing. Except the claim they were in the same gang.
What was it, for the record?
An assault rifle.
And was that assault rifle down by his side, or was it held up?
I stand your objection.
How was the assault rifle positioned, for the record, as the person named Nard walked away from the door and towards the parking lot?
He had it in a low ready position.
What does low ready mean?
It's just a position that's not necessarily pointed at a person, but if you need to draw your weapon, it's essentially in a position where it can be drawn and placed on the target.
Objection. Facts not in evidence. You don't know if he knows that this is an act. He knows that it is a down, ready, up, backwards cowbell. I don't know.
Target quickly.
Yes, they are calling it assault rifle. They are calling everything
Does
in
anyone
this
you
trial
recognize come back into
an
the
assault
screen at
rifle or a, yeah.
21.407.557, walking towards the Food Mart's door?
Yes,
Who is that person, for the record?
Kelvin Treadwell.
And at the same time, 21.44.7. Going back to the parking lot at 21:42:21, is this time before or after that 21:44:07 that we were just talking about?
He says it's before or after.
Yes.
I believe this is before.
Okay.
And again, they have already seen this video. Just now, they have a retired officer telling them what they are supposed to see.
At 21:43:24 on the screen now, is Kelvin Treadwell in the frame that you're able to see?
No.
And is this portion part of what we saw on Friday as well?
Yes.
Has the Dodge Nitro come on the scene?
Yes.
And have the occupants of the Nitro at 21:43:46 gone towards the Food Mart, the Sicko?
Yes.
At 21:44:01, for the record, would you describe what happened as it relates to the person you identified earlier as Walter Murphy and the blue
Hey, Christina.
that came into the parking lot behind the silver Pontiac?
Walter Murphy began to run towards the rear of the vehicle. The occupants then exit the parking lot at a high rate of speed.
And as Walter Murphy ran towards the vehicle, would you describe for the record so that it shows what, if anything, Walter Murphy had in his hand at that time?
He had an assault rifle. He began to run towards the vehicle with the assault rifle in his hand.
And how was the assault rifle positioned in his hand?
He was starting to point it
Where was he pointing the assault rifle?
towards the blue vehicle.
And were you able, from your vantage point, to see anyone pointing any gun or anything else out of the windows of the blue vehicle?
No.
During your investigation, did you obtain any suggestion that there was ever a gun pointed out of the window of the blue vehicle?
Hold on. Didn't Mr. Steele, isn't he examining this witness?
Yes, Your Honor, he was.
He was.
on
No,
that.
but I think he still need to continue that respectfully, Mr. Adams, okay? So Mr. Steele needs to continue with this examination, sir. All right? So I will go ahead and overrule that objection, but Mr. Steele, you need to make objection since you were the examiner on this witness, okay?
Excuse me? Mr. Judge, you already claimed numerous times the Harvey rule, which means if one objects, it counts as everybody objects unless they specifically says we do not object. But here, all of a sudden, it's very important.
Yes.
And what do we have here? We have a sidebar. What does that make it? It is sidebar counter 139. Jesus Christ. Oh. Skip ahead, skip ahead, skip ahead. That's a
To 2144 recessed in place. What did you observe Walter Murphy doing in the last few frames of the surveillance footage prior to 2144:08, which is where we are on the screen now?
Prior to, he was brandishing a large assault rifle, pacing back and forth through the parking lot from the front entrance of the food mart, back and forth towards where the blue vehicle was parked.
And just before the blue vehicle exited the parking lot at a, how did you describe it exiting the parking lot?
High rate of speed.
At that high rate of speed, did Walter Murphy do anything with that assault rifle he held in his hands?
He pointed it at the rear of the blue vehicle.
Did he move towards the blue vehicle as he did so, or did he stand in place close to the front door of the Sicko?
No, as I stated, he began running towards the rear of the vehicle, but pointing the assault rifle towards the blue vehicle.
All right, thank you. And at this point, 214413, is the blue vehicle now gone completely from the gas station parking lot?
Yes.
All right. And as we're looking at the front door of the Sicko at 214427, would you tell the jury what it is that we see?
You can see Mr. McMillan waving Mr. Allison and Mr. Treadwell out of the store, telling them to come on. And they all began walking towards their vehicles.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Jeff is joining me. For you who don't know, Jeff tried to set himself on fire, or he claims it was a barbecue accident where somebody else poured way too much lighter fluid. And I asked of an AI rendition of that event, and this is what it gave me. And I think this is actually really, yeah. I could see this is what actually happened. I will never use AI for court documents, but yes, I know it was a barbecue accident. I'm just having fun. I already shown Jeff
And going
that
back to
picture.
the parking lot
Bless
view, bless you. Are you able to see those same persons at 214436 walk back into the parking lot of the Sicko?
Yes.
And are you able, for the record, just to describe where each one is headed?
The unknown gentleman with the long sleeve white t-shirt, he's going, I believe, the rear seat behind the driver of the Pontiac. Mr. Allison and Mr. Treadwell are also on the passenger side of the Pontiac. Mr. Murphy and McMillan and the unknown gentleman enter the white Dodge Nitro.
At 2144 and 50, are both the silver Pontiac and the white Nitro still in the parking lot?
Yes.
Has the blue vehicle that left, as you described, at a high rate of speed, after Walter Murphy pointed the gun at it, has it at any point during this time re-entered the parking lot?
No.
And through your investigation, at any time, did you receive any information from anyone that led you to believe that a gun was pointed from within the blue vehicle at any time during this altercation? Your Honor, I did not ask what anyone said. I asked her whether she received any information that led her to a certain conclusion.
Oral, sir. Oral, sir. No.
And would you tell the jury without saying what they said, if you can?
Here's the thing. There is testimony, but this officer, retired officer, college dropout, police officer, well, they ignored all of that because after this event, a guy in that car that drove off got shot in the head. And we should all feel very sorry for him, and I do. You should never get half your head blown off. But claiming he is as innocent, more or less Christ reincarnated, as the prosecution seems to go for, no.
I recall who all you spoke with as it relates to this incident that we are watching surveillance footage from after the shooting occurred.
Yes, I spoke with the victim, Dexter Montgomery, also the driver of the vehicle, Cornelius. D'Angelo White was a passenger in the blue vehicle. His name was Christian James, was a passenger in the blue vehicle. Terry on.
So you
Can't recall his
spoke
last name.
to
He's
the
also a
people
passenger in
in
the
that car and they said,
I spoke with
we
Walter
didn't have a
Allison
gun.
after the incident. I spoke with Miss Tina Clark after the incident.
Tina Clark is not a
I spoke with
witness, I think.
his last name is Kuykendall.
Uh-huh.
His nickname is Fatty. I spoke with him regarding the incident. I believe that's it.
And was Tina Clark the young lady that you identified as being in the same vehicle with?
Objection to repeating the testimony.
I'll stand the objection.
As it relates to Kelvin Treadwell, what vehicle did Tina Clark situate herself in both before and after the blue vehicle left the parking lot?
She was the driver of the Pontiac that Mr. Treadwell was a passenger in.
And are you aware of if there's any familial relationship between Tina Clark and Kelvin Treadwell?
That would be based on hearsay.
She knows.
I'll stand the objection. You can rephrase it if you choose to do so.
Regardless of whether they are actually blood relatives,
Oh,
did
objection. Prosecutor is testifying.
Tina Clark and Kelvin Treadwell present themselves as being related, regardless of if they actually are?
Foundation.
I'll rule that.
She did, as well as Mr. Allison.
And when you say she did, what are you saying?
She stated they were all.
Objection, hearsay.
She presented.
Hold on. That was Mr. Matthews and Mr. Steele. Christina. All right, and I'm gonna sustain the objection.
Without saying what she said, what relation did they present themselves as having, regardless of whether that relation actually existed?
As a good acquaintance.
I'll rule, sir.
Listen to that question. Without saying what she said, what was their actual relationship? Well, how would she know without saying what that person said? That is classic hearsay. This is so stupid.
You don't need to say thank you every time, Mr. Sharp.
As good acquaintances.
The prosecution says thank you all the time, and you say nothing. And then the defense does it, and you yell at them in front of the jury again.
Did anything that you learned after speaking with Walter Murphy, Tina Clark, or Mr. Kuykendall, the young man that you've called Fatty, did anything from those conversations in any way cause you to investigate either of the persons in the blue car for committing any aggravated assault with a weapon against the people in either the Pontiac or the white Nitro? And if my question was too long, please tell me and I can shorten it.
No, I understood the question.
Okay.
Answer is no.
And how many times did you speak with Mr. Murphy after this shooting happened?
In regards to the shooting,
In regards to the shooting?
3 times.
In either of those times, did he ever say anybody in the blue vehicle pointed a gun at him?
He did not.
Did he ever say at any time that anybody in the blue vehicle threatened him?
No.
Did he ever say that anyone in that blue vehicle pulled a knife or some other offensive weapon on him?
No.
Did he ever indicate that anyone in the blue vehicle pulled any weapon on anyone in either the silver Pontiac or the white Nitro?
No.
What about Tina Clark? Did she speak with you willingly?
She did.
And without saying what she told you, did she describe the interaction that she had with the persons in the blue vehicle?
That would be hearsay.
I stand the objection.
Without saying what she told you, did she give you information regarding the interaction she had with the persons in the blue vehicle without saying what she told you? Because that would be hearsay.
I'll rule the objection, sir.
Jesus Christ. Glanville, it's still hearsay because there's no way this former cop, could have this information without hearsay.
Did she give you the interaction that she had with the people in the blue vehicle?
Yes.
Was the description of her interaction with the person in the blue vehicle consistent with what you have observed and described for the record on the surveillance footage from the parking lot that was shown on Friday?
This is also hearsay and bolster, Your Honor.
Your Honor, I'm asking whether or not what she said, not if it was true, but whether the words that she got were in any way consistent or inconsistent with what she's seen and what the jury has seen on the surveillance.
I'll rule the objection. I'm gonna stand the objection.
Did the information that you received from any of the occupants of the vehicles on scene, either the blue vehicle, the silver Pontiac, or the white Nitro, lead you to investigate any acrimonious relationship
there.
or interaction between Tina Clark
I agree with no consent. You can't get in here, say, by proffer a question without telling me what she said. I agree, but welcome to the crap show.
And the driver of the blue vehicle.
Can you repeat that out? I don't want to say the wrong thing.
Based on your interactions with people from both the victim's vehicle and the Nitro and the silver Pontiac, were the interactions between Tina Clark and the driver of the blue vehicle friendly interactions?
Yes, they were.
And based on the information you obtained from all occupants of each vehicle, did that friendly interaction ever in any way turn anything besides friendly?
No.
Your Honor, I'm not asking what anyone said.
I'll rule the objection.
No.
Yes, you are. It's just, oh.
As we continue to play, at 21:44:57, can you tell for the record which vehicle pulls out as between the silver Pontiac and the white Nitro? Which vehicle, if any, pulls out first and where they go when they pull out?
The Pontiac, it goes down Browns Mill Road with the silver Nitro following.
At 21:45:11, has the Pontiac already left the screen?
Yes.
And is the white Nitro just now pulling out at
Thank you, Rachel.
21:45:11?
Yeah, I
Yes.
like this one. Drunk me bought this for
And at
me.
21:45:12, where has the white Nitro gone?
Following behind the Pontiac down Browns Mill Road.
All right. I clicked on the video event that is later.
And remember, the jury has already seen this video. All they are doing now is seeing it with a narration. It is so improper and so stupid, but here we are.
21:30 and 31. What area of the store does this area depict?
The front cashier counter.
And just so that we can get this on out of the way, 21:39:38 up under that, does that just depict another angle or the same angle of the front door that is in the first video clip?
Yes.
All right. So going back to 21:30 and 31, advancing to the spot 21:40, 39:072.
Oh, is it Passover? Happy Passover.
What's happening at 21:40:40.732 as it relates to the persons that you can see in the surveillance footage, just for the record?
Mr. Allison is speaking with the cashier at the counter. Mr. Treadwell and the other gentleman in the long sleeve white t-shirt. They're looking out of the window, out of the door into the parking lot.
And at that same time, 21:40:41. We'll start at 21:40:24. What is happening? Bless you.
Thank you.
What is happening in the parking lot as it relates to the people in the blue vehicle?
You can see the driver, Cornelius, walk towards the front door of the food mart. Then he returns back towards his vehicle.
This
At
is the
21:40
third
and
time
45,
they watched this with the prior witness. Now, then they were watching this part, but the camera was in 4 squares. And now they're watching it again, but with the 4 squares put there. Cumulative, repetitive.
is Mr. Davis now?
He's at the driver's side door of his vehicle.
And what are the people inside the food mart doing at 21:40 and 57 after Mr. Davis has gone to his vehicle?
I'm just standing around talking to the peers.
What is Mr. Allison doing?
Looks like he's purchasing something.
Is he doing so in a hurried manner for the record or in a leisurely manner for the record?
I stand in objection.
As you're able to observe, do you observe his mannerisms as hurried, leisurely, or something else?
I stand in objection.
Mr. Treadwell, what is he doing at this time, 21, 41, and 40?
Looking out of the door into the parking lot.
Has anyone come into the store with an assault rifle from the blue vehicle?
No.
And I remind you, none of the people
At 21,
in this
58,
video
21,
is a
42,
defendant
02.
in this case.
Where is Mr. Treadwell, Mr. Allison, and the person in the white shirt?
I can't see the person that was in the white t-shirt that came out of the vehicle with them, but Mr. Treadwell and Mr. Allison. They're just standing near the front counter.
And based on what you are able to observe and your experiences with law enforcement and commotions, are you able to see anything that you would have classified as a commotion inside the Citgo at this point?
No, this is late testimony, I object.
I believe that our witnesses she's already transitioned to that, so I'm going to overrule the objection.
No, there doesn't appear to be a commotion inside.
At 21:43:22, describe please what you see, if anything at all, for the record, Mr. Treadwell doing.
Mr. Treadwell is on his cell phone, and he, at this point, walks out of the food mart into the parking lot. Bless you.
You all need to
At
hit the like
21:43:48,
button.
is there anyone
Thumbs
at the
up.
door of the food mart?
Yes.
Who?
There's 233 here and 128 thumbs up. That is over 100 of you who haven't pressed. Seriously, folks, you know better. You know to. Do I have to whine about? I'm not this prosecutor. I hate whining. But please.
That was Demise McMillan,
And did he have anything in his hands?
an assault rifle.
At 21:44:29.837, would you describe for the record what the occupants of the food mart, if any, have just now done?
You can see Demise McMillan standing outside along with Walter Murphy with assault rifles. They opened the door and waved for Mr. Treadwell and Mr. Allison to come outside, and they all walked outside.
In stature, is Walter Murphy smaller or larger than Kelvin Treadwell,
Height-wise or
height-wise?
he's smaller.
And is he heavier or thinner than Kelvin Treadwell?
At this time, he was thinner.
And what about Mr. Allison? Is Walter Murphy smaller or larger than Mr. Allison?
Smaller.
Demise McMullen, is he heavier or thinner than Mr. Treadwell?
Thinner.
And do you know whether he's taller or shorter than Mr. Treadwell?
I'm not certain.
And what about Demise McMullen as it relates to Mr. Allison? Is he heavier or thinner than Mr. Allison?
He's thinner.
As between Mr. Allison, Mr. Treadwell, Mr. Murphy, and Mr. McMullen, how many do you see during this surveillance footage armed with any weapons?
2.
And which two are they?
Walter Murphy and Demise McMullen.
Miku's headphones, how is this not leading? It is leading. They have a continuous objection.
At 21:44:47, are Demise McMullen, Walter Murphy, Kelvin Treadwell, and Ronnie Allison all outside of the store of the food mart?
Yes.
And at that point, 21:45:07, has everyone that I've just been talking about completely left the food mart?
Yes.
Thank you. You mentioned that you spoke with D'Angelo White after this happened.
Yes.
Can you tell the jury how you learned the name D'Angelo White? How you came to know of his existence?
From the calls for service and police report.
Was D'Angelo White the person that called 911 in this case?
I believe he was. I believe he was.
Okay. Were you and Detective Dennis able to get a phone number for D'Angelo White?
Yes.
And were you all able to actually communicate with him on the phone during your investigation of this case?
Yes.
Do you know where D'Angelo White was at the time you all were speaking with him on the phone?
I don't recall.
Where were you and Detective Dennis at the time you all were speaking with D'Angelo White on the phone the first time?
Atlanta Police Headquarters,
Where is that located?
226 Peachtree Street, Southwest.
During that telephone conversation, did D'Angelo White agree to meet with you and Detective Dennis in person?
Yes.
Were you able to hear the conversation and communication between D'Angelo White and Detective Dennis as that conversation took place?
Yes.
How were you able to hear it?
Investigator Dennis had him on speakerphone.
Were you able to ask questions of Detective Dennis so that he could then ask them of D'Angelo White during that conversation?
Yeah, I didn't want to appear to be loud, so I was kind of whispering questions for Investigator Dennis to ask Mr. White.
Did you all ask if D'Angelo White would meet you all somewhere?
Yes.
And did he agree to do so?
Yes,
Do you remember where you met him?
I do.
Where was that?
It was an apartment complex near Lakewood Avenue.
Was that a family member of his, or was that just a random place?
Kimberly, didn't the witness have a DUI? That's why she's no longer detective. I don't know. All I know is that she was in the force for 20 years and then she retired. So far, that is what has been brought up in this trial. I would assume during cross-examination, this is one of the things that should show up as a question. As in, Miss What's her face? Are you a criminal? No, they can't ask that, but they should. Yeah. Hey, we are catching up minute by
I'm not
minute.
certain whose place it was. That's just where he wanted to be picked up.
How long did it take you and Detective Dennis to get there if you all went to meet him?
I stand objection.
Did you and Detective Dennis leave after you hung up the phone to go meet D'Angelo White?
To the best of my recollection, yes.
And the type of car that you drove, was it a marked police vehicle?
No, it wasn't.
Were either you or Detective Dennis in uniform?
We weren't.
Were the windows to the vehicle you were in tinted in any way?
Yes, it was factory tint.
Why do you distinguish factory tinted as opposed to some other kind of tint?
From my knowledge, factory tint is not as dark as a tint that you would, personally buy of your choosing. So factory tint is generally a lighter shade where you can still kind of see the vehicle, but not directly into.
And did APD have vehicles with an even darker tint, or were they standard using factory tinted windows?
I didn't have access to a vehicle with darker tint, so I'm not sure what the
I
department had.
see.
Did D'Angelo White express any concerns about being seen inside the vehicle or with you or Detective Dennis when you first met him
Yes,
that day? And did you meet with him the same day that you spoke with him on the phone?
yes.
Did you do anything to get rid of his concerns or to kind of calm his fears about meeting with you?
Once we picked him up, he said to pull out of the apartment complex and kind of directed us which way to go. So I took that as, he was concerned about other people within the apartment complex and not wanting to be seen. So we just left the area as fast as we could to ease any concerns about anyone seeing him.
Did you go at his direction to the area where the incident took place involving Dexter Montgomery and the shooting after the sicko?
Yes, it wasn't far from where we initially picked him up. So yes, we went by the actual shooting location.
When you say not far from, do you mean what type of distance would you estimate it to be?
Less than a mile.
Was this daytime, nighttime, noon, dusk, morning?
It was early afternoon.
So was the sun still out?
Yes.
What was the first place that you all went to after you picked up D'Angelo White in terms of the incident that took place earlier in April?
To the best of my recollection, I believe it was the Citgo station first.
Was D'Angelo White in custody when you took him to the Citgo station?
No,
Was there any need to read him any kind of Miranda rights?
no.
And as you all are going to the Citgo station, does he describe for you what happened on the night that Dexter Montgomery got shot?
Yes, he did. And we were asking our questions as well.
Asking.
And did
ASK.
he express any concerns about testifying during that time?
Testifying, not specifically using that word or that term, no.
This is
What term do you remember him
axing. You are asking a
sir.
question.
I believe he used the word paperwork.
Paperwork. Had you heard that word before used in that context?
I have.
And what is your understanding based on your previous investigations and interactions with individuals who met? What is your understanding of what he meant when he said paperwork?
Oh, sir.
You may.
A discovery package.
And just for the jury's purposes, what is a discovery package?
Discovery package is a collection of evidence that generally goes to the DA's office, and the DA's office turns over to the defense team just so they're aware of what type of evidence the state is presenting.
I'm going to show you what has been provided on a thumb drive to the defense as State's Exhibit 101 Bravo Bravo, and I believe it is labeled, Your Honor, on the defense's thumb drive as 100 Bravo Bravo. But I will allow Mr. Steele or anyone else who wants to look at what I'm showing you.
What's the exhibit again? I'm sorry, states.
101 Bravo Bravo. It is a digital file that is recorded.
What is this recording now? Well, we can skip ahead.
I'm showing you a thumb drive. Do you recognize this particular thumb drive?
I do.
How do you recognize this thumb drive?
I believe it was Friday. I saw it and my initials on it.
And did you recognize the files, and have you had an opportunity to listen to your interview with D'Angelo White conducted over the telephone with Detective Dennis?
Yes,
Was that a fair and accurate representation of the conversation you all had over the phone?
it is.
Your Honor, the state tender says exhibit 101 Bravo Bravo as evidence,
Before you do that, what date? We're talking
July 13, 2015.
about? Any further objections that otherwise have not been noted already? Okay.
And they are approaching. They are approaching. That brings us to sidebar counter 114. Oh. Yeah, there's a discussion in the chat about Christmas and who is more drunk at Christmas. I've seen more than a handful of times when kids eat the raisins that has been soaked in mulled wine for a few hours. Yeah, because parents don't pay attention. Skip ahead, skip ahead. They are okay.
Maybe publish as you see fit.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay.
You gotta share it first.
Once upon a time, I had a thought of doing a reading of the sidebars. Yeah. No. I'm having enough with the actual trial. If I want to read out the sidebars, I don't think I can order that transcript yet. But
Hello? Hello? I don't even pause this thing. Hello?
Hello?
Yeah. What happened?
It was me, my partner cousin, the one who got shot. And I mean, it was 5 of us in the car, but we was coming up to the gas station that shit going Joneswood Road. And the car behind us, the car was in front of us, who was driving, like, my partner was driving, like, he drive how he drive, how he normally drive, because we in our hood, you know what I'm saying?
So was he driving fast or kind of, they felt like he was driving fast or something?
That's how he felt, but we weren't going there, like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And so, the rapper Young Thug.
Yeah.
All right, the rapper Young Thug, he took cancer to the man who was in front of us. So I guess he thought we was pushing up on him, like trying to either rob him or do something to him or set him up. But we're not knowing. We don't even know who it is in front of us. We just driving.
Right.
So we go to the gas station on Joneswood Road at the cemetery, and that's where they go at too.
Mm-hmm.
So the rapper good, Young Thug partner will be with him.
What's his name?
I don't know his name.
Hey, what's his nickname?
Bentley.
Okay.
So I guess he felt like that. Everybody know on Instagram name OG Bentley. So he felt like everybody know OG Bentley be having some money on him, you know what I'm saying?
Right. Describe him. What he look like?
He's kind of big and he light skinned.
When you say big, tall, or fat?
He's a little bit chubby. He ain't fat, but he's chubby and he's light skinned.
What kind of car was they driving? Or what kind of car does he drive?
They be having different cars, but the one he was driving was a Pontiac G6.
What color was it?
Silver.
All right. What kind of car do you usually see him in?
That's the only car I've seen him in. Yeah, because I ain't seen him recently. You know what I'm saying?
I got you. So you guys are kind of driving on their tail. Y'all pull into the gas station.
He pulled into the gas station.
Okay. Did y'all pull next to each other, behind each other, or what?
No, we didn't pull, like, we was on one side of the other side of the pump. He was on the other side of the pump. It was him. He had some girl driving, and it was 2 kids in the back, in car seat. It was one other dude who was with Bentley. So both of them walked into the store. So my partner who got out of the car was driving, couldn't go in the store, and the girl approached us like, "Oh, y'all was driving so fast." And my partner was like, "We weren't driving fast. That's how I normally drive, 40 miles per hour." So He went a lot of ones really different. So, got like $8 on me. So OG Bentley had probably one in the store. So my partner got out the car. When he was going to the store, but the girl was talking to him about how they felt like we was on their tail. And so when OG Bentley partner came out the store, he seen my partner and the girl talking, so he felt like they were, trying to get at each other.
Was they arguing, or what did your cousin or whoever say to them? Was it like an exchange of words, like anything negative, or what?
The girl and my partner was not arguing. It was just a normal talk. Like, she was like, dang, y'all pushing up. I was like, it was like I was on our tail. And so he was like, he felt like we was on his tail. So when OG Benton probably came out the store, he went back in the store and told OG Benton, was like, such out here.
What you mean such and such? Like, give me word, like, what was said?
I don't understand. Man, I wasn't in their face, so I went in OG Benton's face for his partner. He was like, he came out, OG Benton partner came out the store, look. Boom. He seen my partner and the girl who we drive were talking. So I guess he thought they was doing exchanging numbers or trying to get at his girl. So he went back in the store, told OG Benton that what was going on. OG Benton stayed in the store for like a good 10, 15 minutes. I didn't come out. And then after that, about 5-10 minutes later, a white Dodge, the white Dodge, the white Dodge Nitro Jeep, the 4x4. They pulled up on the side of OG Benton car. And they got out of the car with AKs and sticks and powders and shit. They came out of the car. Right, they were like, what's poppin' out here? So
No, this is me getting bored, so I add a tune.
couldn't shoot. So my partner, he drove out. Everybody in the car, they ducked their head off because we thought they couldn't shoot. They were pumping. So we drove out, by the cemetery, right? We drove down there by the cemetery, boom. And the trucking company on the left.
Yeah, I know.
And we turned down Harper, by Dodge Elementary, right? We came down all the way down Dodge Harper Elementary. We came down Harper Street. We came to that stop sign. We had to stop at the stop sign because it's a stop sign. The way they was coming back down the street the other way, like going towards Scarpo. And so I guess they seen us, that they were us, and they fired shots. Boom, boom. They didn't hit nobody with one person. It was the person in the passenger side. I don't know what kind of bullet he got shot with, but
maybe they should express it in dance. No, ignore that.
Everyone after the shooting got going on, everybody was in the car, everybody hot. So everybody started checking themselves. Nobody went bleeding, nobody was shot. The driver wasn't shot, but the passenger wasn't saying that. So and we driving, his head started leaning to the side, like dozing out. And so we were like, poof, poof. He wasn't saying that, so we thought he was dead.
What's his name?
I don't know his real name, but I know his nickname, Pooh.
Like P-O-O-H?
Yeah.
Who was driving?
Neil.
Neil?
Neil, not E-L.
It's Cornelius, all right. And where were you sitting at, bro?
I was sitting in the back of me and my other two partners.
Were you sitting behind the driver? The passenger?
I was sitting behind the driver. My other partner, he's 16. He was sitting in the middle. And my other partner was sitting behind the passenger who got shot. He's 17.
What's their name? What's their name?
I don't know the one in the middle name. I know his nickname is Crucial.
Is it Christian?
Crucial, like Crucial.
Okay. And then the other one would be
I don't know his last name. His name is Terrion.
Describe Crucial for me.
Crucial, he's short. He's like 5. I'm taller than him. I'm like 6 feet, 6'1". Crucial is about 5'6", 5'6".
Dark skin or light skin?
He dark skin.
And describe Terrion.
Terrion, he got dreads. The first
I'm just saying, for every crime that is committed in Atlanta, it seems like everybody is calling the cops and snitching and everything. How come they don't solve the crimes with all this snitching going on? How? It seems like everybody is talking to the cops in Atlanta. And yet, they don't solve that many crimes.
the time he didn't have dreads. He had like a temp afro, and then he had dreads like I had dreads. Well, my dreads were longer than his, but now his dreads they kind of growing now.
So you have dreads now?
No, I ain't got dreads now. I just got out of Plain County, so I got my haircut.
So did you know the guys that pulled out the sticks?
I don't know them.
Never seen them before?
I haven't seen them before.
You know their nickname or anything they go by?
I know one of the shooting name was DK because in the middle of his head, like eyebrow, it say DK in the middle of his eyebrow.
Gotcha. What about the other one? You know a nickname for him?
The nickname for who?
The other guy that got out with him.
No, they had masks on.
Yeah. Have you heard of a nickname or anything for him?
I don't know. I don't know them. The only person I know for sure is DK because I stay on Cleveland Avenue. That's where they stay at. But where I hang out at in my hood is Lakewood and Jonesboro Road. And I know how DK voice talk, and I know how his voice, and I know I seen the tattoo in the middle between his eyes, DK.
Answer this. How long after y'all left the gas station did the shooting happen?
How long we left the gas station?
When y'all skirted out of the gas station and y'all stopped at the stop sign and they pulled up the opposite way, how long before the shooting started?
Well, we came down Jonesboro Road. Jonesboro Road had cemetery, not that far, so it was like a good 3 to 5 minutes till we came, and we turned right on off, and we made it at the stop sign. And then stop sign, boom. We went down there, stopped at the stop sign, and the way they was coming, they didn't, no stop sign where they coming. So they been recognized the car because we were the only 2 people at the gas station. So when they seen us, they shot like 2 times. But it wasn't no regular bullet, it wasn't no regular 40, no 45, no 9. It was a chopper bullet. They shot 2 times. One all missed, but one went through the windshield and hit my partner Pooh in the head.
All right. Did y'all stop anywhere after leaving that gas station?
Did we stop anywhere?
Like once y'all skirted out of the gas station, only time y'all stopped was where?
We never stopped. After we left the gas station, we checked that gas. We went another way, so they wouldn't follow us. But then we turned down Harperwell. We were going back to where we be hanging out at in Lakewood. And so we came by the stop sign. They started shooting. Boom. And then that's when I said, everybody else, I made sure everybody was free. Everybody was free. Everybody was like, they good, they good. Then Pooh head started sliding down. And then we rolled up street to my nearest on the house so we can get him call the call. And we called, and we got Pooh out the car. He was still talking, even though the bullet was in his head. He was still talking, and blood was coming down. He still talking to him.
Answer this. Did you see where the shots from the other vehicle came from? Like, did the person, which side of the car did they lean out to shoot?
It had to be either on it. It couldn't be from the goddamn, it couldn't be from the passenger side or from the back passenger side. It had to be either, it couldn't be the driver, neither. It had to be the person behind the driver.
Gotcha. Driver. Answer this question. If I showed you a photographic lineup, you think you can identify the one guy you were saying, DK?
If you would show me a picture of him?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay. What's your location?
Well, I'm saying though, but I'll tell you all that, but you think because my name is Matt.
Bro, do you understand have you seen your partner Pooh, man, since this happened?
I ain't saying that everything then. I stayed over there. I started coming over there for about 2 months after all the machines going on.
I said this before, Becca Lynn. The prosecution alleges that the YSL is a criminal street gang, and according to Georgia RICO, the Georgia RICO Act, you don't have to commit the actual crime, but somebody has to do it in furtherance of that criminal street gang. So that is why they are throwing every type of crime up. I mean, the Georgia RICO charge, or the RICO charge in this trial, has 196 underlying acts. Some of them aren't even crimes. Most of them people already did time for. And in other cases, the charges were dismissed. But you can do that, a second bite at the battle of the apple, if you do it under the Georgia RICO Act.
I started staying over there.
But what I'm saying is, we need, man. Otherwise, this guy's walking the street. Your partner missing half his head because of this person, man. All right? And the only way we're going to be able to put him in jail is somebody step up to the plate. We know you're not the only one. I'm hoping that all of y'all will step up for your boy, man.
I mean, when you talking about putting numbers on?
I can pull up within the next half hour.
Well, shit, I'm gonna have to, where everybody be at, who was in the car with me, be in Lakewood, so I'm gonna have to walk to Lakewood and you can meet me in Lakewood.
Give me an address.
I don't know the address of Lakewood. You know what the cemetery and the Seago is?
Yeah. You want to meet me at the Seago? We in the unmarked, man. I'll scoop you up. I'll hit you. You got to sit. Is this your cell?
Leave my number right here.
All right. I'm going to hit you on the cell. We'll pull up and just walk up to the sit I'll meet you there.
All right.
All right, babe. What's up?
How long you think gonna take it?
Less than 10 minutes.
All right.
All right?
Yeah.
Run.
Right?
I thought it was appropriate to listening to these two men talking about meeting up to start playing.
And Detective Gaither, was that the extent of the conversation you all had at that time with D'Angelo White over the telephone while you are at AV?
I believe we called him once we arrived close to the sicko, and he directed us to where he was.
But as far as the one that happened at
I don't think that was her on that call, and I assume that is what the objection and sidebar was for, because she's now testifying about a call she was not involved with. Jesus.
is that all of it?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to show you what has already been admitted as evidence and provided to the defense as State's Exhibit 7 Bravo Bravo. 7 Bravo Bravo. Do you recognize the person identified or shown in 7 Bravo Bravo?
Yes.
Who is that person?
D'Angelo White.
When you were in the car with D'Angelo White, do you recall where everybody was seated? And it's okay if you don't.
I believe I was driving. Best of my recollection, I believe Mr. White was up front, in front passenger seat. Investigator Dennis and Investigator Edwards was in the rear seat.
And at some point, did you all stop and show to D'Angelo White a lineup of individuals that you?
If the demo is of the jury is young woke folk from sorry, if the demo of the jury is young folk woke folk from Fulton County, they'll see through Miss Love's antics. Since 3 jurors have already left, they are down to 12 jurors and 3 alternates. I believe they are 4 or 5 black males, 4 black females, and the rest are of different complexion. I don't know. I don't know what's politically correct to call Hispanics, whites, something like that. And they're all of different ages and stages in life.
Asked him about photos that you asked him about.
Yes.
Were those photos constructed before you all got in the car with D'Angelo White?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to show you what has, before you put it on the screen, I'm going to show to counsel for the defendant. We have already admitted, Your Honor, 73 Bravo Bravo, which is the black and white version of 73 Bravo Bravo Alpha. We've provided this, but if anyone would like to see it, I'm holding it up. And if not, I ask for permission to approach. Yes.
Why do they want a black and white rendition of something the jury has already seen?
Detective Gaither, do you remember what the other individuals in the car with D'Angelo White looked like?
I think I do.
Oh, that's the lineup.
If I show you photographs.
Photos.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Sharp.
No, I won't tell. I will not say that word.
And Your Honor, we have these photographs marked 3 Bravo Bravo, 4 Bravo Bravo, 5 Bravo Bravo, and 6 Bravo Bravo.
You said they're already been admitted?
They're marked. Did we admit those? 3 Bravo Bravo is the only one that has been admitted, Your Honor.
Okay, so which other ones are you trying to admit?
4 Bravo Bravo, 5 Bravo Bravo, and 6 Bravo Bravo. 3 and 4 were admitted, my apologies.
Any objection to states 5 or 6 Bravo Bravo? All right, hearing none, they are admitted, may be published as you see fit.
Okay. So now I'm showing you what's been admitted as State's Exhibit 3 Bravo Bravo, 4 Bravo Bravo, 5 Bravo Bravo, and 6 Bravo Bravo. Do you recognize those persons depicted in those photographs?
Definitely one of them. The other 3 look like grown men compared to the last time I saw the victims in the car.
Tell the jury which one you recognize.
The victim, Mr. Dexter Montgomery.
And what number is he identified by?
4 Bravo Bravo.
Would you please put up 4 Bravo Bravo on the screen? Is that the way that Dexter Montgomery looked at the time that you saw him?
Yes.
And who took that photograph?
Investigator Dennis.
Were you with him when he took the photograph?
I was.
Where were you all?
In his living room.
Whose living room?
Mr. Montgomery's living room, his residence.
Do you know how long he had been out of the hospital at the time that you all took this photograph?
It hadn't been long. I believe
Photograph they've
if that.
already shown the jury through
Were
another
you able to communicate
witness.
with this man?
Should have been
Yes.
objected as cumulative. And dun dun dun. What do we have? What do we have? We have sidebar counter 141. Oh, Jesus. Skip ahead, skip ahead.
I have it on good authority that a comfort break is required. So, given the fact that it's the lunchtime hour, I think it might be appropriate for us to go ahead and recess for lunch.
Lunchtime
So,
hour, Your Honor.
How about we take
Hour?
lunch until 1:15 and you all can be back for that time? Ladies and gentlemen, does that work for you all? Okay, all right. So, Detective Cather, if she's right behind you. If you come back for 1:15, please, madam. All right, ladies and gentlemen, jury, we'll see you back at 1:15, okay? All right, all rise.
Let's see if they say.
But this, madam, just don't discuss your testimony by accept the attorney, okay?
And they are still on lunch break. And that means that I will see you all back here tomorrow. We will do the afternoon as a recap, and then we will catch up with the live. So that is what's going to happen now. Let's see if I can redirect you to somebody. Dun, dun, dun. Who is streaming right now? Dun, dun, dun. Not that many. Not that many. All right. You can choose by yourself. You can choose by yourself. But everybody, if you haven't hit the thumbs up, do it on your way out. I will see you all back here tomorrow. I will try to make it to 9:30 a.m. And we will continue this charade of a trial. All right. And as per usual, hug your family. Unless your family is crap, then screw them and give your love to the people who actually deserve it. All right? Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.